The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast coming to you January 21st, 2024. It is another solo episode here today as I get to fix. Hold on. Why is all this stuff on my my screen here? I apologize. Anyway, how you guys doing today? I'm well. I hope you guys are doing well. I take this off. There we go. Thank you. I don't want that on the screen. My name on there. You ready? My name, Earnest EJ Christian. Of course, I'm on YouTube at youtube.com/at Earnest Christian. We want to try and get up to 400 subscribers in the next the goal. I'd like to get out of January, if we could, at 400 subscribers. We're building this thing here slowly and surely, and we're doing a good job with that, and I really appreciate that. Lots to get to today on the show. First and foremost, obviously today's Sunday recording this. There's a lot of NFL things here to talk about here, but we're going to save a lot of the NFL content for Tuesday's show with Kyle. Doing a game report when we do the entire recap of a divisional weekend. We'll touch on a couple things on just one topic, and you'll see in the title, obviously, I want to touch on, but it's not a little more in detail. But yeah, last night I went out, watched the night game, Packers and Niners. Of course, Packers obviously blew that lead, and Niners went to go in the conference championship. By the way, I love and hate gambling at the same time. So let me explain. Last night I put in a 4-team parlay. Ravens cover 8.5 points, which hit. I put in 2 NBA games on the money line, which hit. Knicks and Sixers both won straight up. And then I had the Niners minus 10 against the Packers, thinking they'll cover. And obviously it didn't happen. So what I did is I decided to put in a live bet at it might have been halftime or third quarter, but it might have been the third quarter. That's what it was. Packers were up by 7 points, 21-14 in the third quarter. They'll go to commercial break. I checked the live bets on the app, and I decided to, because I knew at that point that there was far-fetched chance that the Niners were going to cover 10 points at that point in the game, where that game was going. So I decided to, take a shot in the dart and take the Packers straight up. I was getting some good odds on that too, also straight up to win. Still, even though they were up by 7. And that way, I would have made the money. I would have made up the money and then some for what I lost on the original parlay bet. So I did a bet on the Packers straight up to win, money line. And not only did not win, not only did they blew the lead and didn't ice the game late, they lost the game. So I lost both bets. So love hated gambling. Again, I don't go crazy when it comes to betting. I haven't bet really in 4 or 5 days prior to yesterday. I'll probably put in a bet today for the Sunday games, of course. But man, that's frustrating, man. Frustrating as hell. But otherwise, I had a good time last night. I hardly go out. Whether or not it's to, when I mean by that, I mean more so things that don't, I go out for like things outside my family. Like if I go out somewhere, it's normally with my kids or with my wife. Last night, decided to go out with friend of the podcast, Zach Degenerate. We were supposed to have our friend Chris with us, but he couldn't make it last minute for personal reasons. Hopefully we get back together next couple weeks. And I really enjoyed it. We went out late, to the late game, and I don't normally eat late. Went to the ale house nearby my house. Don't know eat late, but decided to eat late for some reason, and that was not a good idea. Luckily, I didn't finish all my food because, as you guys know, I intermittent fast, and I never eat past like 6-7 o'clock ever. Last night that wasn't. I had a rough day. I ate like crap yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. Yesterday was one of those days I decided, you know what? Hands up. I'm not going to be good today. I'm just going to have fun and enjoy the rare moments of going out to, going out with an old friend and just shooting the shit, talking politics, talking sports, and everything else. We could actually probably record a podcast where we're there. Honestly, I probably should do it next time. Some of the things we're talking about on the show, tomorrow in person. But had a good time though. But got home late and feel like crap because again, I don't eat late. I don't eat late ever, like anymore. If you see me eating, I think the only time you probably see me even somewhat eating like past a certain time is if I'm on an edible. That's it. I'm on an edible. If I take an edible for some reason, just for anxiety, that's about it. Otherwise, I just don't go out to eat that late ever. But it was a good time last night. Intermittent fasting is definitely something that I truly recommend everybody else. I know I've been talking about this for years on the podcast, but it bears true. And honestly, it's so easy. It really is. Like last night, the reason I ate late because I made a decision to do that. I wanted a burger, I wanted fries, I wanted a drink, so I did that. So, but it's not something I do very often. And probably next time I'll probably do next time is to eat lighter for anything. Instead of getting a burger, make it wings instead. Wings don't have any much carbs in it as it is, so or any carbs at all. And as also I mentioned on the pod like a couple weeks back, I haven't really started it yet, but I think this week I'm going to start it. I think maybe tomorrow. I am going to start the carnivore diet, which is basically all meat, which is very recommended by a lot of folks, especially people who have type 2 diabetes, which I do have. It's recommended that you can do that because there's a lot of nutrients in meats and stuff. I know a lot of people who listen to the podcast probably vegans and don't believe in that, and that's fine. I respect that, but I'm a meat guy. I'm a meat guy. What can I tell you? I love chicken, love beef, love pork and all those stuff. Love fish. And carnivore is something I can do. One of the things I'm going to talk about on this podcast in the months to come. My good friend, who's a friend of the show, who's been on the show a long time. I'm going to have him on the show probably after the football season's over because he's on it too also, and we've been going back and forth about ideas and stuff with food and why veggies aren't necessarily a must. That's not that it's bad for you, but it's really do anything. There's more proteins and nutrients in meats than any other thing, and he's someone that's very big on animal rights and stuff of that nature. But he also understands that he says that it's meats are where it's at. And a lot of the things you get in medicines, fish oils and stuff of that nature supplements you get in medicines, you can get in those meats in meats also too. So something we'll talk about in the future. I don't want to bore you guys with all that here, but yeah, intermittent fasting in general has been great, man. That's the one thing I will say is saved my carcass the last year as I'm trying to venture this because I gotta be honest with you guys, it's been really hard to stick to eating healthy every day. It's hard. My wife was much better than I am. My wife has always been relatively eating healthy for the most part. Relatively, she obviously has her days and stuff, but she always has come close to eating healthy in most days. However, it's tough. I have a sweet tooth, number one, and a lot of things too. Also, is that even if I like meats, I also love rice. Pasta, I'm actually over pasta. Honestly, I've been over pasta for a long time, even before I was diabetic. Or pronounced diabetic, should I say, last year. So it's rare to eat pasta anyway. So that's not really an issue for me. But rice, but it's carbs, breads, and sides. So carnivore, it's meat and that's it. So you get a steak, you're eating the steak. That's it. No sides, no veggies, nothing. This steak. Which was just which in theory for me sounds very easy because I love meat. But I'm always used to having a little side of rice, or a little side of this, and so. And that's a way to go away from carbs. But intermittent fasting has been such a lifesaver for me because even if I do eat bad, I don't spread out the amount of caloric intake into my body more than I have to. In fact, I'll say it again. It's been so easy for me. It really has been really easy for me to do this because I've on the regular, like obviously the typical most popular cycle of the intermittent fasting is 8 hours on, 16 hours off. You eat 8 hours and then 16 hours you don't eat, and I do that normally 8-16 without even an issue. But I've been regularly going up in the ante now, and I've been regularly going 20 hours, 18 to 20 hours without eating, and not an issue. I'll drink water or tea. Tea is good for you also too. It's not no sugar in that one also too, so you can do that. And I do that, and I that if you get hungry, I'll drink a little water, a little bit of tea, and I'm good. I actually went. It wasn't on purpose, but I did this like last Friday, I think it was. I went 24 hours. I went 24 hours not eating a single meal. Now, where I screwed up was I broke my fast eating a burger and fries. That was not cool. I should not have done that. But again, 24 hours of not eating. I mean, there's a protein there, obviously, in the meat, but at the same time, there's still breads and still carbs on the side. So you got to be, you got to weigh the options, of course. But I'm working on that. So it's tough, but intermittent fasting, it's been very easy for me. It's been a lifesaver for me. And honestly, if folks, if you want to be able to reverse, diabetes and all this stuff, and you have a hard time with eating, like I know a lot of friends of mine who are diabetic or on not just insulin, but also other like meds or other things to curb the appetite to slow down the hunger. What is Monjaro or whatever maybe. I don't want to do that. I refuse to take needles and stuff. I don't want needles in my body whatsoever. But fasting is good. If you can train your body to go 16 plus hours without eating a day, it's long. You're definitely a ways into reversing this thing. That certainly helps the situation. Like obviously, you want to eat cleaner, obviously in the 8 hours, whatever you eat, but not bad anyway. So anyway, like I said, this is a divisional weekend of football. I'm actually really looking forward to the end of the year and football season. And I say that as someone who loves football and football. Obviously, I'm talking about a lot on this podcast. I do the Huddle Up podcast with my boys, Big Jim and Kyle and Matt on every Tuesday. And I'll be sad when that show is going to be done for the season. Obviously, we'll have a couple off-season episodes throughout the next 6 months, but it's not going to be every Tuesday thing. But the reason why I'm looking forward to the end of football season is that, and you guys know this with the schedule, we go in heavy with this podcast especially too in particular is absolutely the busiest between the months of September and January, February, because of the content we're putting out. Because we still put out regular content on top of the football content, which we do. We have Kyle every week on the show. We have Zach every week doing the football gambling show, EJ versus Degenerate, of course, and then the stuff around that. So we're actually the busiest content-wise on the busiest between those months. And I'm not complaining about it for the record. I love doing it. But it also, when you finish the football season for me anyway, it does open up other things, possibilities. So once we're done with the Super Bowl in a few weeks, Student Game Report will go to like probably a monthly or whatever, monthly or every few weeks, whatever it may be, or maybe it depends on when we need to bring them on the show. We're done for the offseason, unless we need to have an emergency podcast. Maybe talk about the draft, maybe, and maybe about the free agency. That's about it. But it's not week to week anymore. So it does open up the schedule for me a little bit in some ways. And I'm looking forward to that. So what do I do with it? Do I use that to put in newer content in here? Do I continue podcasting those out on those days? Because I do those shows on Tuesday mornings and / afternoons, and then Wednesday with Kyle, and then Wednesday evening I do it with Zach. That now opens up everything else now. When you have those shows gone for extended period of time until the next season, it opens up other avenues for other things. I can not do podcasting at those times, or I can do podcasts, or add more guests, or it adds a lot of things. So I'm looking forward to that part. I'm looking forward to that because of obviously we stick to the process. Like we start doing those shows in September, and we're going home all the way through. And then the Huddle Up podcast, as I said, we do that. Well, I prepare that show every single week. That goes to a probably monthly or bi-monthly schedule. We check in, record. We'll record episodes like on one. We'll pick like a random Tuesday, say in March, and record 4 episodes, and that fills out for a month of content. So I'm not committed to every Tuesday, and not either. So it opens the doors for other things I can do on those slots. You know what I mean? Which is good, because I can podcast every day if I wanted to, but I really can't. But I would like to. But at the same time, because of I do have a restricted schedule. I still have to be a dad, still have to be a husband, still have to be there. So I have personal things on the side I want to do also too. but it does open up the doors for other things I can do. So that's the only reason I'm looking forward to the end of the season. Because then, like I said, once the season's over, I have 3 different slots opened up now where I can do extra shows, extra episodes on this podcast, or it wouldn't be, But that's just that. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to that. But otherwise, it's been a funny year. Like I said, we'll talk about a lot of the football stuff. We actually have the Sunday games. Today's Sunday, of course. We're gonna have the Sunday games today. Bucks, Lions, Bills, and Chiefs. We'll react to those games, obviously, on Tuesday on the Sunday report with Kyle. But I am all in, and you see the episode of the show today, all in on Lamar. I am absolutely all in on Lamar Jackson. Obviously, the Giants didn't make the playoffs this year. The Dolphins were out in the first round against the Chiefs last week. I am all in on Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's one of my favorite players in the league. Arguably my favorite player in the league. Arguably. It's a good dude. He's a local kid here in South Florida. He was actually at a local Chipotle here near my house a few months ago before the season started. And I'm all in on Lamar for really one major reason, because I'm here. I am here to the changing of the narratives surrounding a lot of things when it comes to quarterbacks. I'm here for changing the narratives on black quarterbacks, that they can't win, they can't do this, they can't throw the ball down the field, they're only athletic. Come on now, those are things. Been a thing for years. Come on now, you can hide on the rug all you want. That's been a thing for years. Come on now, I'm all in on athletes and guys who are athletic can't be a quarterback. I'm all in on Lamar Jackson just being a guy you can build a win around. I heard for seasons, for years now, 5 years now. Oh, Lamar is solid, but he's a running back and not a quarterback. That this dude wins over 75% of his games when he starts a quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, he can't win a playoff game. He can't win a big playoff game. But no, he just did. He's 2-3 now in the playoffs. He's 1 game away from the Super Bowl. Okay, I'm all in for that, man. And that dude deserves it. Because we, as NFL, as fans of the NFL, and I'll admit for myself, I'm guilty to a point with this too, especially being a traditionalist as I am when it comes to football. We're set in our ways. Like we've been taught and fed for years that the way to win in the NFL with a quarterback, especially as a quarterback, is having a guy who's a great arm, who tall, stout, doesn't even athletic, to throw the ball down the field, the whole nine. A guy that moves around a lot, you can't win with that. And the opportunities of quarterbacks, or lack of opportunities that you've gotten quarterbacks through the years, hasn't really helped the situation, hasn't really helped the narrative. Because even when you have quarterbacks that try to get in, they're not given the leash possible to succeed, if you will. And it's almost similar to the way black coaches are being used. Black coaches have been used for years in the NFL. Not that they're not getting opportunities; they got opportunities, but even when they get opportunities, they give 1 year, 2 years. Look at Steve Keim in Arizona. Come on now. So I'm here for the narrative, changing the narratives for Lamar. I mean, I'm here because I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's a great kid, deserves it. We're 2 wins away right now. As recording this podcast, we are 2 wins away from Lamar Jackson being, which we all assume at this point now he's going to win the MVP this year. That'll be 2 MVPs and a Super Bowl champion. 2 wins away. And I said this on the Unfiltered podcast that I recorded yesterday before the games, that it's put up on top of Lamar. I'm not saying that because I want it to be that way, but the rails are clear for Lamar to win this whole thing. Both the 2 teams remaining in the AFC playoffs right now, KC and Buffalo. KC is having a down year by their standards. Buffalo is very erratic. Baltimore still has home field advantage because they won yesterday too. They're still number 1 seed. Okay, on the NFC side, San Fran right now is advanced to the conference championship as well. They just beat San Francisco a month ago in San Francisco. Okay, the other 2 teams right now remaining, and now Detroit and Tampa Bay, they're better than those teams. They beat the Lions down 38-3 this year. So if there's any time, and I'm not saying Lamar Jackson can't win next year or the year after that, certainly it's very possible with the parity in this league. But this year feels like the coast is clear. The opportunity is there for Lamar Demetrius Jackson to actually get the job done. And the Super Bowl title is going to change a lot of heads. It's going to turn a lot of heads. It's going to change a lot of minds, hopefully. No more of the goalposts moving on Lamar Jackson. Oh, yeah, but this. Oh, yeah, but this. No, we're done with that, man. We're done with that. So I'm all in for Lamar Jackson to win this whole thing. I'm all in for the black quarterback narrative to come to an end. I'm here for the athlete narrative quarterbacks coming to an end. On Lamar Jackson as a whole to come to an end. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So that's that. So go Ravens rest of the way, honestly. All right, one more thing we got here. Like I said, shorter pod today because I want to get in because I'm not gonna have time to record a solo podcast this week. I got loads of episodes coming up on Tuesday. I got to record 2 podcasts on Tuesday rather. Of course, the screen report. I also got another one planned on Tuesday with Duke Bennett and Rob Barnett. We're gonna do a Royal Rumble preview and other things of that nature, talk politics, all that stuff. Zach on Wednesday, and then who knows on Thursday. Oh, Thursday I got an NBA one scheduled as well too. So I got a lot of things going on in the time frame. So this is the only time I can do a solo pod. So anyway, last thing here, Tim Scott, George, little politics talk here. Tim Scott, South Carolina senator, shocked me yesterday. I guess I should be shocked, but Tim Scott yesterday actually endorsed Donald Trump for president yesterday. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that he did this early, number one. Here is the video. Here's his quick speech on him endorsing Trump while Trump there at a Trump rally.
Thank you. Let me say, we need a president who will close our southern border today. We need Donald Trump. We need a president. We need a president who will unite our country. We need Donald Trump.
All right. Anyway, that's Tim Scott yesterday endorsed Donald Trump for president. I'm surprised because thought he would be more on a Nikki Haley wagon or even Ron DeSantis to some degree. And certainly I didn't think he'd do this early, especially with the fact that, look, Trump's going to win the nomination, but I'm definitely, certain of that. But with all the stuff hanging out right now with the indictments and the court cases and all the stuff, and Nikki Haley has been surging the polls too also. We have New Hampshire primary starting on Tuesday. She should win that one, or at least come close to Trump on that one. Certainly beat DeSantis on that one. She should. We'll see how things play out when the votes are casted on Tuesday. But I wonder if this is also strategic on his end too also, because there's a lot of speculation about who should Trump pick as running mate for vice president rather. Obviously ain't gonna be Mike Pence. We know that already. And we've heard for a good while now that the likelihood of him picking a female is pretty high. It could be anyone from Carrie Lake to Kristi Noem, and who knows. That's going to happen. Marjorie Taylor Greene, probably not going to happen, but whatever. But I also do recognize that the black vote's huge in this election on both parties, not just on the Republican side, but the Democrat side too also. And Joe Biden has actually, by virtue of the polls, we've seen the black vote. And if we're to assume this is going to play out, it's definitely trending the other way from Democrats, Republicans. Now, whether or not they go to Trump or not, we'll see. But it's definitely a lot of dissatisfaction on the black community here in the country when it comes to Joe Biden and the Democrats. So I say that because what if Tim Scott is trying to nudge his way into a nomination for to be a nominee for the VP? It would not shock me. I've said, for months last year that if I had to do a power rankings of possibilities of a top 3 people, I would probably think Trump would consider being a VP running mate. Tim Scott was my top 3. And now with this early endorsement, especially too, now him committing to Donald Trump early, I feel like this is in 2 ways. Yeah, him endorsing Trump, yes, but also I think this is a way also for him to probably position himself as a possible running mate with Donald Trump. Just saying. We haven't heard any speculation yet as of late. Most people still believe it's going to be a female. I still think it might be a female. But if he does not go with a female as running mate, let's say Nikki Haley loses when she eventually loses this primary, does she consider Nikki Haley as a running mate? It wouldn't surprise me either. But Tim Scott is probably the male. If I had to go male in terms of who'll be a male equivalent to could be his running mate, I think Tim Scott be the one he would probably consider, honestly, to quote unquote get the black vote. Just my opinion. So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, we got a long way to go with the election. We got New Hampshire on Tuesday. And then of course Super Tuesday coming up in a few weeks after that. So we've got a lot of ways to go. This is election season, of course. We'll be covering that on this podcast a lot. And that will do it for me. I am exhausted. I got no sleep last night, so I'm going to go get some rest before I watch these games. Again, I am on Twitter at EJ Christian 7. Of course, also check me out as well on YouTube at YouTube.com/Earnest Christian. And we will talk to you guys soon. God bless y'all. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. And we'll see you on Tuesday. Later.